Alright, don't hurt yourself. Well, as you guys can tell, we're in the garage, and today is turbo day. We're gonna get the old turbo out of my car. We're gonna swap in a new one. Well, hopefully we'll figure it out. Of course we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anything's possible, right? You got it, nice. So I got my best partner with me, my best helper hanging alongside, so hopefully he'll come in handy and maybe I could just throw him in the engine bag, trying to get to those hard to reach nuts and bolts. I mean, who knows, maybe. He's also kind of a liability as well, so if you guys haven't been following along, we've been after some white bluish smoke coming out of the tailpipe. We did a couple different videos trying to get to the bottom of it. So that brings us here to swapping out the turbo and hoping that is the problem to our white bluish smoke. Got that big old Garrett 7699 turbo in here. Big boost, 50 plus PSI. I don't think my motor's ready for it, but compression checked out, so we're going ahead and go big or go home, you know what I mean? Let's pull this baby out and show you what I got. Of course I already opened it, had to check it out. I've been sitting on this thing for about a month now. The new Turbski right here, baby. Little peanut snail over here. Little OEM TD04L. Gonna be doing an OEM replacement, nothing special. Again, I don't want my car to blow up, you know what I mean? It's been going this good for this long. Why screw it up now? Nothing like a new part, you know? A new car part, nothing like it. It's just so pretty. So pretty, no grit and grime, no oil, no nothing on it. Just brand new OEM quality, you know? Never had a turbo off, never had one in my hand like this before. It's kind of cool to have it and just kind of see how it all works. So this is from Turbochargers Direct. I'll link everything down below, same exact model that I bought. There's the tag right there, TD04L. And apparently these are made by Mitsubishi. So yeah, that's about all there is. Oh, nice, there is oil in it. I was questioning if it was gonna have any oil in there or if we were gonna have to run it dry. There is an optional gasket slash little install kit that you can purchase with your turbocharger, and that's what I got. They'll include the studs and new nuts. I don't remember if they came with these zinc coated bolts or not. These are for the downpipe. Also, AutoZone does have a little install kit as well that I purchased. Turbo mounting gasket set, there you go. So I'll link this down below as well. Just two separate options. I'm not sure which one's better quality. So not only are we going to be replacing the turbo, we're gonna be actually upgrading our turbo oil feed lines and also our AVCS line. Picked up this IAG kit here. It's got pretty sweet stainless steel lines and all the adapters and washers and whatnot. So we'll be installing this as well alongside with the turbo. So stay tuned for that. I'll have it linked down below for you. So yeah, obviously we've got a lot of work to do in order to get that new one on. So let's go on and get started. Let's pop the hood, see what we need to do. Are you gonna supervise up there the whole video or what?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. Who knows what we're doing? Nobody knows what we're doing, but we're gonna do it and we're gonna get it done. This isn't a jungle gym, okay? You're a monkey, but it's not a jungle gym. Well, the first kind of steps is to get the intercooler off. Intercooler comes off. You guys have seen me do this in the last like couple videos, so if you're a new viewer, I'm sorry, but it's pretty straightforward. 12 mils. 12, 12, 12, 12, 10s, 10s, 10s. All couplers come off, bypass valve, obviously your mounting bolts for your intercooler. All that's gotta go. 12s, 12s, 12s. Gasket, gasket. 12s. 12. PCV, crankcase, ventilation, hoses. Ooh, shimmy, shimmy, shake removal. All right, the cooler is off. So there was a little bit of oil around the rim of the turbo, but as far as cold side outlet here, I don't see much, but we do have a lot coming in to the intake here. I see it puddling in the coupler right in the corner here. A little bit of residue there. Not crazy bad, but you know, definitely some residue. Let's have a little peek down here. Got definitely some corroded bolts and nuts over here. A couple nuts holding on your up pipe. You got some nuts and bolts and nuts holding on your down pipe. So I'm gonna start by just disconnecting our little boost solenoid hoses here. So I marked one with blue, that way I know that one goes there. The other one that disconnects is over here. That'll be a no mark, no name one, and I'll know where that one goes on the new turbo. So I'm just gonna start disconnecting things one by one, seeing what it takes to get this baby free and out of here. It's funny because my little repair manual says to drain the oil and the coolant before you start this job. Well, I'm not gonna do that. You may lose a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's worth draining your coolant system, draining your oil, you know, so I'm just Just gonna wing it and just kind of skip over that step, pretend I never read it. I do have the Cobb 3-port boost control solenoid on this car, so your OEM setup may be a little different. I'm sure you noticed that by now. That thing is stuck on there, brother. Trusty hose removal pliers here. There she comes. Work this guy off here. All right, that one wasn't as stubborn. Let's go for this crusty coolant hose here. It's so worn out, I could just use my fingers. I put a little drip pan down below just in case. I'm not sure how much is gonna come out, but my car is obviously cold. It's been sitting for a while, so I don't believe there should be any pressure built up in here. If there is anything, we'll be ready. This has never been off in the whole car's life, as far as my ownership goes. It might have some in here, I don't know. Like I said, we're just winging it. We're just doing it. We just out here doing it, you know what I mean? Ooh, there we go. Ooh, damn. Oh, it's blue. That's good news. So the turbo's letting out a little bit of coolant as well. I'm gonna see if I can't just kind of rotate this coolant hose up out of my way for now. I'll just kind of rotate it up and around, kind of get it up. Hopefully that's kind of out of my way. There's a bottom one too. That one probably will be a little more messy. But like I said, we're ready. We're prepared down below. Well, unfortunately, my camera decided not to record the last couple clips. But what I ended up doing to get to that bottom hose clamp for the bottom coolant line is a 10mm mounting bolt that threads into this little bracket. So I removed that, pivoted out of the way, and then it allowed me some access to get to this hose clamp down below. So that's the way I did it. Maybe you'll have better luck. Anyways, we're moving on. We're about to remove the hose now. See if I can just get it to move a little bit. Kind of rotate it on the hard line here. Gonna break the seal, you know what I mean? Okay, you can kind of see where the hose is kind of coming off there. I can start to see the rib right on the hard line here. Give it a little pry, a little wiggle. Pull it with my fingers, pull the rest off. Okay, here we go. Let me get a little courtesy rag first. Again, I don't know how much is gonna come out. I'm just gonna take some extra precautions. The more mess I can eliminate, the happier I'll be. Woo. Well, I can hear my drip pan working. But we got the lower coolant line off. Okay, well, let's kind of tuck that lower one out of the way here. It really isn't much. Definitely dribbles out though. No big deal. Look at that, moving right along. I'm gonna leave the oil feed line connected for now. I'm gonna work on getting off the downpipe now. So I have some aftermarket bolts or whatnot, but I think stock is 14mm. I have some 15mm nuts here and 14mm bolts. We'll start with the ones that we can get to up top. Once we get under the car, we'll get the other downpipe bolts off. 2 nuts and bolts and the remaining 3 nuts holding on to the studs on the turbo. Pretty straightforward so far. Nothing crazy about it. Only thing crazy is if these bolts don't come loose. That always delays things when your bolts strip out or they're seized together. I did spray this with PB Blaster a week or so ago, just trying to get prepared for this repair. We got that going for us. Come on, boy. Yeah, got the 2 nuts and bolts out on the top. Ow. That intercooler bracket may need to go. Before it gets in my way anymore, I'm gonna remove this little intercooler bracket that we have here in the way. It's 2 12mm bolts right over here. Oh, bracket-o is off-o. Bracket be gone. Definitely worth using some never sees on these things. That's what I used last time, so they're coming off with like a breeze. Heat wrap's coming off. Uh-oh. Nasty fiberglass. It's all itchy. Gotta be careful with that. Like a glove. A little grimy, eh? A little crunchy there. She's a crusty one. Got one more down underneath. I'm gonna quit playing around. I'm gonna get this car jacked up in the front. That way we can get under the car and get that last nut off for the downpipe. So let's go on ahead and jack her up and get under it. Typical fashion, nothing it gets done in one day. But I came out to the garage and had a nice little puddle of coolant that looks, oh, it's still kind of going. So coolant's been gradually kind of leaking out all night. Come to find out, my car wasn't done leaking. You can see a faint line going all the way out to where my garage door was closed. Kind of puddled up there, so safe to say is I'm gonna have to get some more coolant before we fire this bad boy up after everything's said and done. Make sure the system's nice and burped. But yeah, just FYI, if you're gonna leave your car overnight after disconnecting all the coolant lines, you may have a big mess in the morning, so you might want to pinch off that line before you go to bed. Just my little 2 cents. Back to the video. Well, I guess it's never too late to add your little hose clamp crimp off pliers right on that hose that was leaking all night. It's got it crimped on right there, trying to hold any last drop that's about to come out. Better late than never. Underneath the car, here's part of the downpipe with the O2 sensor connector there. This is part of our bracket we need to get off, a little nut and bolt combo there. Mine's kind of been Frankenstein, so who knows what size mine is. And then this portion of exhaust also, unbolt that. I believe there's 2 14s, nut and bolt combo. Then we'll work on the last nut to the downpipe. Got a 12 mil bolt one side, a little 1/2 inch nut on the other. Combo right there. Still see a little bit of anti-seize left in there. Let's get our O2 sensor disconnected. This guy disconnected. There we go. Pop her off. 14 nut and bolt combo. Power tools sure are nice. As you get older, you start appreciating them more. I don't see any signs of leaks. We got a good seal on that. We're after this last downpipe nut right there. See, it's almost been rounded off over the years. But we're gonna get that last one out, and then the downpipe should be popping off.
Daddy, where's the remote?
What? I don't know. I'll get it in a second. I gotta finish this business real quick, okay? Oh my gosh, look at all the scrapes.
Oh.
Scrape this thing a couple times. I'm getting access just like this. Got a little stubby extension on there. A little ratchet, 3/8. Working our way off. Just gotta be careful this thing doesn't drop on my head. So I'm used 2 hands for this step. Just like so. Downpipe is off. Sitting here nicely. I didn't get smashed. Close one. Well, after a little diagnosis here, taking off my downpipe gasket, it appears I have a little bit of, or I had a little bit of an exhaust leak coming out right there. This little black area. But we'll get this fixed with the new gasket. This is the other side of the turbo here. Get a good look around inside. See if we can get a shot of the oil return line down below the turbo. Okay, so I got eyes on the return line, and it is indeed this guy here with the hose clamp. So the part that it mates to the turbo is gonna be up past the bracket area. Sorry, I'm choking on some heat wrap residue. So I'm better off maybe disconnecting that one there, get the hose clamp off, and then pulling that whole hose and turbo assembly out together. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna go ahead and back this hose clamp off a bit and see what happens when we try to pull it off after we get these last 3 nuts off. So let's do it. We got the clamp off, just let it kind of drop down below. So we'll see if this hard line and soft line are gonna come apart easily or not. Well, in other news, I think I see something that decided to move in while I've been working on my car. Look at those strands going to the concrete right there. I don't know what it is, but the other day I found a Black Widow in my trunk, and Black Widows are known for these like sporadic web systems here. So I'm gonna give them a rude awakening and spray some insect killer up in that corner right there. See if it comes out or not. Sorry bro, but you cannot stay. You must go. Oh, there he is, Black Widow. Come out wherever you want. I don't bite hard. See where he went. He definitely climbed up into the car more, which makes me feel all so safe. Told you he'd come out. Sorry, little buddy, but you can't stay here. You can't play. I'm not a spider guy, I gotta say. Definitely not a spider guy. Okay, going in with my breaker bar on this one. My nuts are 15 millimeter. Again, probably aftermarket of some sort. Vacuum on loose. We go after the one hiding right behind there. All right. Not so bad. They looked a lot worse than they were. All right. I'm thinking maybe I should break free that banjo bolt too before my turbo gets too loose. That's a 15 millimeter banjo up top here. Okay, I just want to get that baby loose. Wasn't too bad. I almost forgot the turbo inlet needs to come out as well. At least loosened up. Hose clamp hiding behind this hard line here, but I'm just using a flathead to loosen it up. Okay, got the inlet loose here. Zip out them nuts. Ooh. Well, there's a change of plans. The stud actually came off the up pipe. That's unfortunate. Let's try this one. Okay, well that stud's coming out too. Yeah, that one's coming out too. Well, what causes that? Is that poor insertion on my part the first time around? Well, it's not a big deal to add new ones in there, but it's a little bit easier to do it while the up pipe is off. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Got those studs out as well as the nuts, a little more than I wanted. Turbos are wiggling. So I got the hard line loosened here. The banjo bolt, I guess I should get that up out of the way. There's gonna be washers, one top, one bottom. So this is the banjo bolt with the little tiny pinhole. Just kind of finessing it off of the turbo inlet here, as we'll slide that guy out all I can. I think it's all gooped up. Still working it off this inlet over here. Got some good wiggling out of it. Okay. All right, is this it? Is it gonna come out? Is this the big reveal? Okay, so oil feed line. Okay, I think we came off the bottom one. Yeah, boy. Oi. Put that baby right into the tub. Alrighty, boys. Look at that. Turbo is off. Heck yeah. My plan worked out, or at least what I had in mind. See, the hard line for the return is right down there. So that separated from this little section of hose, which was that hose clamp that was impossible to get to because of the bracket. And now check her out, man. Look at this thing. A lot of residue coming in there. Man, the new one sure is pretty compared to the old one. Obviously, this is brand new. This one's got 173,000 miles. The last 3 digits on this one ends in 560. And my new one ends in 360. Same with the 2 bottom, or these 5 numbers right here, 04505 on the old one. And we got 04300 on the new one. Now I did notice one difference, and that's in like the snout of it right here. So that protrudes out a little further than the one that came off here. So I don't know if that's a big deal or not. If anything, I can just kind of trim my intercooler coupling, you know, to kind of make up for that extension. But that I just do not know. And unfortunately, I couldn't read this number all the way when I had it installed in the car before I went on ahead and ordered a new one. So I don't know if how big of a difference this is, if it's gonna screw me later on, but I'm already this far. I'm not gonna wait for a replacement if it is wrong, but the website does claim direct bolt-on fitment replacement for the 06 WRX and many other models. So I'm just gonna go by their word and trust the process. So yeah, we're moving right along. I'm getting excited. I'm gonna be working on installing this new IAG oil feed line and AVCS line. Just gonna have to pull off some of this intake action, all this stuff that I've had off a couple days ago. Get that all out of the way, and then we can have access to our AVCS line and then get the oil feed line plumbed properly as well. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff out of the way, and then I'll show you guys what's up. You guys know the drill. We got some 10 millimeters holding up the intake. These 2.5 millimeters out of here. Cobb SF intake and add bolts. Rip to the nylon washer, wherever it went. Good old 5/16 hose clamps. Little 12 millimeter down below. 10 millimeter right over here. Everybody out. Hey, there's the nylon washer. Got it. I'm gonna throw this clip in real quick before you start mangling your AVCS hardline. I was just reading the IAG directions, and it says if I have my, what's it called? Since both my hard lines, I have my oil feed line and my AVCS line, those are both separate. So right on IAG's website it says if your AVCS line isn't damaged, there's no need to replace it. Otherwise, just replace your oil feed line. So it says here, I don't know if it'll focus or not, but I'm just gonna read it. It says if your vehicle uses the Style C factory lines and the oil feed is the only line that is damaged, it is not necessary to remove the AVCS line. Steps 1 through 4 will cover just the replacement of the turbo oil feed line. If I would have read that ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have messed with the AVCS line. I just figured I got 2 stainless lines. I'm gonna install them, you know, as the kit. I paid for 2 stainless steel lines. I wanna get them both installed. That's kind of like my mindset here. Come to find out, yeah, it says it's not necessary to replace them. Obviously, it's still possible, but save yourself some time and maybe think about it before you go through what I'm about to go through. So, just a little heads up. Back to the video. Alright fellas, well, I've been kind of getting things ready for this AVCS and turbo feed line install. Just got the up pipe kind of taped off just in case if I drop anything down below, you know, I won't be regretting it later. So I'm kind of just fishing out where I need to unscrew and unbolt the banjo bolt here for the AVCS. Not that one, but it's going to be this one. I think it's a 17 millimeter. Just hiding down in between this hard line and this bracket. So that is the hard line that wraps around. You can see it there. Hard line. This hard line right there wraps around underneath the intake manifold and somehow pops out behind the block right about there. So that's your other bolt or banjo fitting that has to come off. Then we have a plug that'll plug that eventually, and then that port will be blocked off, and then we're just going to be teeing off the oil feed line to actually feed oil to the AVCS. So it's kind of like a rerouting going on. And there's kind of a lot to it because there's so much crap in the way, so I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go, trying to do some research on it, and then update you guys on what goes on. That way you guys won't be as confused as me, and I can just kind of tell you some tips and tricks on how to do it. So far I just went around, I removed this 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter bolt. This one's being held in right here on the front part. Then I kind of just zapped this loose, zapped that loose, came around to this bolt here, zapped that loose, and then I was just kind of wiggling it, seeing where I'm at, seeing what it takes to get this bracket off, because I don't really have any instruction. I got the overflow area loosened up as well. I might have to pull that off or at least set it aside a little bit. Trying to make room to get in there and do my thing, so we'll see what we can do. Obviously, if you guys aren't installing this little upgrade that I'm doing, then you might want to just skip ahead. I'll put the little timestamp on the video now to where I get to installing the new turbo. But for the time being, we're gonna have a little segment on installing these new stainless steel lines here. Hopefully it won't be too bad. So I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna finish removing the bolts to this bracket here. So I'm gonna take out that bolt. That nut's already kind of loosened up. I'm probably gonna take out these 2 nuts here holding in the overflow. And then there's also a bolt on the back side where that ground wire's connected to. Got that one loosened. I'm gonna take that all the way off. That bracket off there. Pretty much any nut or bolt that I need to get off to get this main bracket that's in the way off. And then I can move on to the banjo bolt. Okay, that little guy there. I'm gonna get this guy out of there. Again, this is like uncharted territories for me, so I hate to make a video on how to do something when you're not even sure what you're doing. So basically, got that bolt out. A little wiggle test, see where we're at. Okay, looking good. Got this bolt on the back side here. It's just grounding the chassis through the block, I guess, or somewhere. It's a little ground wire, referencing where that comes from, where that goes. Okay, got some good wiggle going on that bracket now. Okay, well that's about all I had to really loosen and remove in order for me to... So I have access now. It's a 17mm hex on top of that banjo right there. There's the banjo right there, just slid in my 17 underneath. All right, we're gonna give it some gentle persuasion, get that baby out of here. Broke it free, baby. Got a little turn on her. Turn don't burn, you know what I mean? We didn't rip anything else off in the process, did we? There we go, got a bracket kind of cooperating with us, kind of getting it up out of the way here. But it's gonna be in the way by the time I get that thing backed out, because it's gonna be backing up against the bracket. Baby, what is holding this thing in, bruh? I know it's holding the bracket, and it's actually underneath the overflow here, or the expansion tank. There it is right there. It's almost like a little zip tie, clamp on type thing. Okay, I done did it. I just removed these 2 bolts from here. I have all the wiggle I need for this little expansion tank here. These Subarus are such a cluster, dog. Okay. Sorry, this is one hell of a delay, I gotta say. But this is real life. This is what's happening as I'm doing this. Of course, off camera I got it. I remained supreme. So it's just one of those little push-in little doodads here. Well, let's see what this bracket wants to do now. Okay, more wiggle. She ain't coming all the way out though. Should be plenty of room here to get the banjo maneuvered around it. It's kind of that hard line above it that's kind of scaring me now. Hard line right above it, I think that's your like fuel regulator, fuel pressure regulator right here, I believe. Not really sure, maybe. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, all right, let's back out this banjo for the most part all the way and see what we got. It's funny because every video I saw, like people installing these things and their intake manifold's off. Kind of looks like it's their project car where they have like many other things that they're doing at the time. So I don't know if it's even possible to do it without the intake manifold off. I'm really curious if there's going to be a screen in this banjo bolt. Well, unfortunately, this hard line is screwing me right now. Definitely screwing me. I've got that banjo bolt backed out to the bottom of that hard line. I don't know how to move it, how to loosen it, what to do, how to do it. Possibly there's a bolt crammed in there. That should allow some wiggle here, but fudge monkeys, how the hell am I going to get to that? Okay, I got a little bit of a breakthrough. Look how far out I have this bolt. It's coming, but I'm kind of risking it here, and I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the hard line. I'm just kind of gently prying up on it as I start to back it out more and more, just kind of prying up on it. Trying to just relieve the tension on this hard line just enough to get that banjo bolt backed out. There's a little flex in it, but again, I think that's a fuel line, so I don't want to really go crazy with it. But I'm like 1/2 a thread like it until this thing wants to come out. So close, so close. Just trying to bring her home from the backside here. Close, brother. There we go. It slipped past it. Nice, 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 nice. Sheesh. I don't think any damage was done to the hardline. Thank God. Thank the Subi gods for that one. That was about to be a disaster. Come to Papapita. Papacita. Banjo bolts out, and we have no screen. That's a good sign. Rescue our banjo boat. Banjo washer. How about your banjo goober? Got it. Banjo's out. Sweet. Now we have to feed this hard line back out around. So this is like all or nothing because I'm going to cut this line. That's the only possible way to get it out, I think, without removing the intake manifold. So yeah, let's get started on that. Come to think of it, I don't believe this one even has a screen in it. It's going to be the other banjo bolt on the back of the block.
So I can reuse this. I do have an extra one. I do have an extra one on hand. This one's pretty good shape. I don't know, I might just throw some new washers on this one and reuse it. We're gonna go into some hard areas to kind of film. But basically, there's our other part of our hardline banjo bolt on the other side. So this is the one that travels from this side, the one we just got out. Right there, hardline swings around underneath, comes around and pops out right there. So that hardline's gotta somehow make its way out underneath the intake manifold. So that should be fun to do. But from my understanding, this is gonna be the banjo bolt with the filter in it. So let's go ahead and get that loose. I believe it's another 17. Go with that angle. All right, we got the 17 on there. Gonna try to break her loose here. Keyword try. Can we go with the closed end? Oh, there we go. Broke her loose. So let's go ahead and feed her out. Hopefully there's not a big old mess. I think I dropped enough coolant already. I don't need oil now. Get a little drip rag here. Might lose a little bit of oil. A little bit of oil. Hardline better come out. I'm going to plan on cutting it. I'm really hoping it's going to maneuver out somehow. Somehow, some way. It seems impossible at this point. Yeah, I got a finger or two on it. I got you. Coming to papa. Just kind of feeling it. Can't really see much. We are learning today. Would have been pretty simple if I got myself just a new oil feed line. I really hope there's not any type of clamp holding this thing on underneath the intake manifold. That would not be fair. All right, we got a screen. See? We got a screen. I wonder if she's clogged. Let's get that washer out of there. 3 for 3, baby. Well, the experts say to just get rid of this filter. Throw it out. Take it out with some pliers. We do not want to risk it. They say to actually replace these every oil change. It's like, really? You're really going to do this every oil change? I don't think so, dude. Okay, well, we do have some good news because I can come around the backside, right where we took that banjo bolt out. I can give it a little wiggle. We get a little wiggle on the hard line. We're getting a little wiggle on the other side. So that kind of tells me that if I cut this thing, I'm going to cut it as close as I can to the bend over there. See if I can't maneuver this thing out and be done with it, because we're not going to be putting a new line through that way again. The one we just got off, a plug's going to go in there. That port's going to be blocked. And then all we're going to do is tee off from the oil feed line that feeds obviously the turbo and then also your AVCS. Basically bypassing that part and going around this way. That's my understanding at least. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. All right, I thought I'd just share what I'm kind of doing here. So obviously I bent it pretty dang far from where it was. I'm hoping that it's just gonna bend itself off, it being a hard line. Hopefully it weakens and snaps itself off. We'll find out. I'll let you guys know if this is the way to do it or not. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. So I have my hand on the other side as well, preventing that from moving. That way it's actually, you know, creating a snap. I want it to create a break in the hard line. All right. Yeah, one side broke off. Well, as you guys have probably already noticed, this has been quite the shit show, huh? So we got part of the hard line out, as you guys saw on the last clip or so. We got the hard line partially broken off from this side. So I was on the other side just trying to maneuver out the rest of what was left there. And I was using my little hose pliers here and yeah, got a hold of the little eyelet there and looks like it sheared off right there on this side. So now I'm left with just a bare pipe with nothing to hold on to. Hopefully it can maneuver out now. Who knows? I may even just leave it behind because we don't need it anyway, but that'd be pretty ghetto. That's not what I'm planning on doing, but we're going to give it another shot. We're going to try to get the rest of this hard line out. So my latest decision is going to be, I'm going to remove the turbo inlet. Just going to remove the turbo inlet, see if I can get better access to it and try to do this right. I can't just leave that piece of tubing in there. I just can't do it. So we're going to get this turbo inlet out of here. See if we have a better visual on the hard pipe and the twists and the turns and whatever we need to maneuver around to get it out. Hopefully we'll get somewhere after that. It didn't take too long to get this out. Got some WD-40 all slapped on there. Just help me get the thing slid out, all right? Go ahead and diagnose what the hell's going on down here. My questions have been answered. I know why this hard line was not coming out after such struggle, because my worst nightmare, it indeed is secured by a bracket under there. Very hard to see it at this angle, but there for sure is a bracket holding this thing on. It's hiding down in between my fuel lines. There it is. It was already loose. Trying to get that bracket off and then be done with this hard line. Nice to see my fixed fuel lines. They're still doing good. Just have a little bit of WD-40 residue from my turbo inlet adventure. Damn, what a mess. What a nightmare. One thing after another, I swear. I guess that's just working on cars. Look at this cluster. Bunch of spaghetti in here, man. It's crazy. They just kind of just slap everything in here. Someday it should work again when I get everything back together, but for now, it's quite a mess. Okay, well, thankfully that bolt is already loose because it was kind of a biatch to get down in here. So you can see I got a little 1/4 inch action down there with the swivel with a 10mm. Kind of see it. It's not even on there straight, but it doesn't matter because it's not even tight. I better get my magnet ready. Little bastards out of there. Little bastards out of there, you son of a gun. Ooh, man, just turned midnight, man. We out here burning that midnight oil, you know what I'm saying? Done with you. And let's see, do we have satisfaction here? Do we have satisfaction guaranteed? And we're on the move, we're on the move, we're on the move. Here we go, here we go. Oh, wow, check it. Oh my God, yeah, yeah, victory. Look at that thing. That bracket is welded to the hard line. Damn, no one told me about this online. Oh shit, oil. Forgot there's oil in this line. Anyways, I'm so glad this is out. Damn, this is such a pain in the ass. All right, cool, moving forward. Man, this video is gonna be like 2 hours long by the time I'm done with it. I'm just showing everybody what's going on, what I'm going through getting this damn thing out. AVCS line is out, dude. Look at this thing. Shoosh. A couple pieces, but all that matters is it's out and we're moving on. Man, that sucked though. That definitely sucked donkey dick. Sometimes when you're working on cars, tools and parts just kind of start piling up alongside stuff. I typically like to be nice and neat when I take stuff apart and all that. But as you can see, I've kind of given up at this point. It's got some tools over here, but for the most part, tools over here. Some more tools over there, tools over there. Tools I'll probably forget in the engine bay when I'm all done here. But sometimes that's just not how it goes. So this is what's happening now. All right, goody. We get to put the turbo inlet back. Yay. Can't wait to do that. Yay. At least we don't have the turbo in yet, so we don't have to fight with it lining up on the turbo inlet side over here, which is always a bitch. Anyway, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to get going. I'm going to catch up with you guys tomorrow for a new day. Yeah, baby. So I did go on ahead and I purchased all new banjo bolts just because, I mean, obviously the ones that I have are still in good shape. I could use them, but I went on ahead. I just bought new ones. Just gonna go new, you know, I'm gonna start fresh. This is the one part of the oil feed line that's in the block still. We haven't removed that one. This is part of the AVCS hard line we have removed already. This is gonna be your AVCS like inlet, I guess you would say, right next to the solenoid. And then this is actually going to screw right into the turbo for your oil feed. All this stuff will be linked down below. 2 10 mils, 4 12 mil skinnies, and then 1 thick 12 mil. And I believe we're gonna use this to plug the other AVCS port that we're not gonna be needing anymore. It's not gonna need its own supply anymore because it's gonna be teeing off of the oil feed line. So both of these lines are exactly the same length. We'll put it on. We won't tighten everything down obviously till the last minute. So we have our 12 mils. It's gonna fit the diameter perfectly here. Grab our new union for AVCS. This guy, just like that. 2 12 mil washers, just standard thickness. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this started. Hopefully, we don't have to do anything funky. But as you guys know, that hard line is super close, so we'll have to do something tricky here, I think. Okay, got a pretty good view on our AVCS port here. Try to just kind of maneuver it in there. Try not to lose our washer. It's not going to be easy. Gotta get it started. I'm going to have to already pry up on that hard line to get this thing twisted. So better get my 17 handy now. Definitely going to be hard, but we'll do it. Got no choice but to succeed, you know? All right, look at that. Boom. Lined up fine. All right, I'm going to go in with my wrench. Thank God, dude. I think we're starting on the threads. We're making progress, baby. I may want to reroute it once it's on. I just wanted to get it started here. So we'll just do an initial snug down. We'll just snug it down and then move on to tightening all the bolts and nuts for this bracket that I loosened up. Get all that squared away and then move on from there. Pretty much the most nerve-wracking part is getting that banjo bolt started without stripping it in any way. Okay, well, of course, learning as I go, per usual. I had to be careful because the orientation of where this is will determine how well this bracket will fit back to where it needs to go. So this can really only go one way. It kind of just perfectly fits where that's kind of notched out already right here. So as long as it's angled just right, it's gonna be close to the harness for the coil packs, but I'm pretty much just gonna lock in this angle and get that banjo bolt snugged down pretty good. I don't want to go too crazy, they're just crush washers. So our stainless steel line is gonna be a 9/16 hex on there. Okay, we're tight on there. Banjo bolt's tight. Let's move on. Okay, update. We got the bracket, all the bolts, nuts, everything we took off. This bolt in the back with the ground, that's back on. All these are tight. These 10s, these 12s are all tight. Everything's back to normal. We got our AVCS line sitting nice and pretty. Nothing's binding up. A little close to that harness here, but I'm not sure if that matters. We'll find out, I guess. So I just have this kind of tucked out of the way because there's plenty of stuff in the way already. Let's get off this oil feed line here. Break that thing loose. 17. Little drip, courtesy dripper down there. Okay. There's our oil feed port. There's our oil feed line here. We're just gonna replace it with the same banjo bolt. And use this guy here. This is the Union Turbo oil feed. And we're gonna get our little T connector here. I just started one of the 12 mil little eyelets on there. Also, quick note, you wanna make sure that you tighten down your little T fitting so that way everything's in line, nice and flat. Your eyelet's flat, there's no angle to it. I'm on IAG's website, going by the instructions here. Right here, it's showing the fat washer is gonna go on the head side, the block side. Got our brand new banjo bolt. Again, not necessary to replace, but I have new ones, I'm gonna use them. Well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna reuse that banjo bolt after all. Looks like this one's a little too long. Screw Union Turbo. This is the part number here. So it's a little difficult to get started. It's probably doable, but then again, my banjo bolt is fine to reuse. It's perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna reuse this. Scratch that idea for this one. Let's get our thick washer from the kit, 12 millimeter, and then also get another 12 millimeter standard thickness. Get back down here, get that thing started. Gonna have our thick washer going on the head side. Get her started in here. See how she's gonna look. Looking good. Yeah, that's right. It does just kind of keep it away from that head just enough where we can get the stainless steel lines on there. Liking that. I might have to maybe tilt it forward. I'm gonna grab this AVCS line and see how that's looking. Just a little rough mock-up here. Swings around there. Leave that a little loose, like I said. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're ready to plug up this hole here with our included plug because we no longer need this port. Got one crush washer on here. This is the included plug. Screw that guy in. Not sure about torque specs on this, but I'm just gonna go snug enough. Obviously, we'll check for leaks later down the line. 14 millimeter hex. Nice and snug, baby. I'm just gonna temporarily put my oil feed line on here. Oil feed line is gonna go somewhere up here. So we'll just kind of leave that for the main event. Get everything torqued down officially once we get the turbo closer to being installed here. So for now, that's gonna basically do it for the little upgraded stainless steel lines here. Before I get too far ahead here, I'm gonna go ahead and slap in this turbo inlet, get that thing back in place. One less thing to worry about, and then we can properly get the turbo mounted up to it once we install that. So I'm going ahead and throw you guys on the time lapse and get this turbo inlet installed. Quick tip, make sure you lube it up. Lube it up and it'll go in nice and easy. Well, a lot easier than if it was dry. My preference, a little WD-40, but you choose what you want. Turbo inlet, not so bad. I've done it enough times to not really stress about it. Getting back in there nice and easy. You can refer back to my turbo inlet install if you guys want some more detailed information on how to install these things. But okay, we got that thing back in place. Now we can move on and shoot, we're ready to get that turbo in here almost. All we gotta do is switch over our oil drain line here. Swap this guy over to this guy. We're gonna pop these hoses off. We don't need those because we have an aftermarket 3-port boost control solenoid. And then I guess I should probably install these studs on my up pipe, the ones that threaded out. So I'm just gonna be sure that the orientation of this line goes on the same way onto the new turbo. There's a little kink in this one right here, so I wanna make sure that it's gonna line up exactly the same. Get our little hose clamp off there. A dinky guy here, not really too strong of spring. See if I can maybe spring it a little more here. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay, got the return line on. Let's get this factory hose removed here. Jesus, there's a deep one. Factory line's off. So I grabbed one of my provided studs that came with the turbo. I'm gonna have 3 of these on the up pipe. I'm gonna go ahead and install the stud back into the up pipe. So I'm gonna use the double nut method. You wanna get your nut started on the longer thread side. Just enough where you can get the other nut threaded on. Now we're gonna tighten these nuts together. In my case, I have a 15 and a 14. Kind of a weird combo, but that's the way it is on mine. Nice and tight. And then that will allow us to thread in this end to the up pipe. I'm going to throw a dab of Loctite on here. Not sure if it's going to last the heat or not, but it's worth a shot. Just a little dab of Loctite. We're doing the red because we're crazy. Maybe a little more came off than I would like, but oh well. We're going to go on ahead and try not to drop this thing. Thread it in the hole down here. Okay, get it finger tight and then go on ahead and start to crank her down. Oy, what if I drop my wrench down there? Woo, that would not be good. Anything down there wouldn't be good. That would just be another delay. I'm just keeping my eye on the top there, making sure I can see movement on the stud threading in. So I'm gonna go until I can kind of feel the nub coming out. You'll just kind of feel it tighten up and not move anymore. Take our 15 down below here. Take our 14 up above and move in opposite directions to get these guys loosened up from each other. Be very careful not to drop any nuts down the hole. Filmed that on the wrong angle, but you know, you get the gist of it. Got 2 perfectly good installed studs so far. Moving on to the third and final. I guess this is just another delay that we normally wouldn't have here. Typically, these studs should not be coming out with the nut, but we're just rolling with the punches and getting things done. Risky business. I should keep this hole taped. I know it, but I'm just risking it for the biscuit. You know what I'm saying? Boom. All right. Our studs are installed. Bring on the turbo, baby. I did stuff a little paper towel down in the oil return hole down here. Got our good old Felpro up pipe to turbo gasket here. You can kind of see the arrangement that it goes. Got 2v2. Okay, well, I'm going to attempt to grab the turbo and kind of put it in place. I hope I'm not going to get screwed over down here where I still haven't tightened up that little splitter for our AVCS and oil feed line. So I'm hoping I have enough clearance to tighten it once the turbo's in. So I'll be sure to let you guys know what happens. I'm going to be aiming for this oil drain line down below here, and then kind of maneuvering it in place. So let's go ahead and give this a try and see how we do. There she goes, baby. Is this it? Is this really it? Am I forgetting anything? I don't know, man. I don't know. Hard to tell, brother. It's all or nothing now. Line up that turbo feed. Gotta get that turbo inlet aligned, and then that should allow it to drop onto the stud, I'm assuming. Wish I could see down below. Okay, we're just slightly off. So we're slightly off of the oil drain line down below. That's what's kind of cocking us here. Pretty blind to get to that drain line down below. You can't really tell what's going on. Okay, well, it didn't take much. I ended up kind of backing out the turbo inlet just a little bit, and then that allowed it to kind of sit into place right over the studs and then right into the oil drain line down below there. Kind of just slipped right on. So we're on the studs now. We're on there. See the turbo inlet kind of folded over there? I'm going to try to get it up over that lip. There it goes. Set it over, and then I'm going to try to maneuver that turbo inlet a little further on. Push it. There it goes. Sweet. All right. I think we got most of the battle over with. Holy smokes there, brother. It ain't over till it's over, but damn, I think she's sitting in place. Might as well get my nuts started on these studs. Kind of get her officially in place. We got our provided nuts from the turbo kit. This next one might be a little tricky. This one around back. I want to risk it and drop a nut, so I'm going to use my little paper trick here. Basically put a paper towel over the socket, shove the nut in the socket, rip out the paper towel a little bit. Now you kind of got a socket that won't drop the nut. A little redneck engineering for you. Finger tight. According to my service manual, up pipe to turbo nuts are 26 foot-pounds. So that's what we're doing. We're going by the book. 26. Go back around. I believe that is the first time I've ever torqued down my up pipe nuts because not sure why. I just always winged it before. We are officially torqued, baby. All right, before I get any further here, I kind of just buttoned up the turbo inlet, got the hose clamps back on, got any like connectors back on, any hoses going every which way. Just wanted to get that all back connected. And now I'm turning my attention down to the big old banjo bolt, 17 hex down there. We haven't really tightened down everything, so I'm going to sneak in there with the little 17. This little 17 flare wrench is going to do the trick. I don't have a 9/16, but I have a 15, which is pretty close to 9/16. So I'll use that to tighten down the stainless lines as well. Well, you can kind of get a little view on the banjo down there. I'm going to sneak in from the side here and see if I can't tighten that baby up. So future reference, you might want to just tighten this down before you get the turbo installed. Give it a little more room to work. All right, I'm gonna go with that. Get the AVCS line right here tightened down. There's a lonely company. Sometimes you just gotta start singing a song. Gonna keep you not so crazy. All right, nice and cranked on. You can actually take out this bolt. This bolt right here is part of the original hardline bracket that we're not gonna be using. I just put that in because it was just a threaded hole that had nothing in it, so I figured it was lonely. Okay, so a little bolts out of there. All right, so now I'm just trying to figure out the best way to route the feed line, kind of make it somewhat not too janky. Which way do they recommend? Get the banjo out of here and kind of mock it up a little bit. Remember, we got our 2 skinny washers that are going to go on here, our 10 millimeter. This is our brand new banjo here. We got the little tiny restrictor hole. Not sure what it is, but that's the style that you need for your oil feed. These are the last 2 washers in our IAG kit. Washer. My banjo is a 14 millimeter. Okay, getting it started here. Make sure you got that bottom washer on as well. Can we get a bite on this is the question. Try my 9/16 wrench, see if I can get any bite on here. A little bit. Oh yeah, we got something going on. A little something with the 9/16. Nice and snug. So I just backed out the banjo a little bit just to give me a little more clearance so I can get this line tightened down. Not sure about the torque specs on this, but I'm just gonna go snug, and then obviously we're gonna check for some leaks when the time comes. Okay, we're tight. This is my orientation here. It just kind of does a little loop-de. I think I'm satisfied with that. Got our AVCS line going down over there. Things are looking good. I might as well get the bottom coolant line on there. That's the one we have clamped off right over here. So let's see if we can get that guy in place. Yeah. This one's the messy one. Coolant wants to go everywhere. Get that guy on ASAP. Okay. It's cool to see that my coolant is all blue still, so it's still pretty fresh. All right, let's get that hose clamp in place. All right, I like that position. Might as well tackle that upper one right here. That one's pretty straightforward and easy to get to. It's coming off the expansion reservoir. Go there. Man, it feels good to be putting it back together. Right about there, looks good. All right, call that good. Get our other hose clamp situated here. That guy back in place. All right, coolant lines are on. Oil feed line is on. We got to deal with our little boost control solenoid lines. And shoot, man, we're coming together, aren't we? I really want to just get this car back on the road, get a little test drive in, see how she feels. Maybe she's going to sound a little different. Who knows? Okay, well, this will only apply if you do have an aftermarket electronic boost control solenoid. I have the Cobb one here. So, unfortunately, the new turbo, my lines are a little too short, a little too much tension on there. So, I'm going to go on ahead and redo one of the lines here. So, other than that, everything pretty much is lining up good. So, let's go ahead and measure that line and get it cut and connected. Okay, just quick reference. Our line coming off the turbo inlet is going to go to port number 1, which is going to be this guy here. So the next port is going to be port number 2, which is going to be this one over on this side. And that's going to go to your wastegate. So this guy's going to plumb right into this guy here. That'll be port number 2. And last but not least, we have this one going all the way over to the cold side area. It's going to be going on that elbow there. I'll also put up a diagram on the screen right now to kind of show you what goes where. All right, we got our new line cut, measured, secured. Just took out a couple 10 millimeters, get this bracket loose, get it away from the wall so I can get those hoses on there, and we'll be good to go. Well, all right, fellas, we got everything kind of situated with the boost control solenoid. All the lines are installed and in place. Double checked all the stainless lines. All the banjo fittings are nice and tight. Nothing's going to be leaking, hopefully. We can only hope, I guess. Kind of like hard to believe that we're almost getting there. We're almost getting ready to wrap this job up. So I'm going to go on ahead and, I just remembered. We have to secure our oil drain line underneath the turbo. Make sure that hose clamp is back in place. And then we'll work on getting the downpipe on. Let's get under the car and get a visual on our clamp for our oil drain. Make sure we don't have any more Black Widows moving in under here. See what we got here. See how we're looking. Hopefully we're lined up pretty well. The oil drain is gonna be, there's your hard line going into the soft line. So we just gotta move our clamp. Going in with a magnet to try to rescue our hose clamp here. A little tricky to get to it, but Little magnets are kind of a lifesaver. So I found it easiest to kind of come in with my left hand, get a hold of it, and then pinch it, and then just move it right up. And yeah, we got that on, and time to move on. I'm gonna slip the gasket on here right now. This is the downpipe gasket. Get it started on the studs. Kind of just hovers there until I get the downpipe in place, and I usually get it started with a couple nuts on the studs first. I'm not sure if we'll see much, but we're just gonna work on the downpipe. We're gonna get this guy slid over. Carefully. My nuts are standing by. I'm just putting the downpipe onto the studs. Just getting the nut started on one of the studs. Any stud you can kind of get a hold of. I'm doing the top right one. We're gonna get our little bolts into the bracket down here. Get our flange all lined up and bolted down. Get our O2 sensor connected again. Just your real standard downpipe swap out. Grab our nut and bolt here for the rest of our downpipe holes. Other two downpipe bolts go in there. All right, just got those loosely started. So we're gonna go on ahead and just start tightening everything down, reassuring that our alignment on our gaskets is nice and square all the way around, and we're not gonna have any exhaust leakage. All right, so we just got everything pretty much buttoned up underneath as far as the exhaust system goes. We got all of the gaskets, all of the nuts and bolts, all the flanges, everything's tight. So we are good to go on that part. I went on ahead and pulled the ignition fuse. That way we can kind of crank over the car and perhaps maybe build some oil pressure, maybe get some oil circulating within the turbo. So this is your 15 amp fuse. Well, that would be there. I pulled that out. So basically it's the yellow one saying 15 amps. Engine ignition / airbag. So my goal is to just crank it over a couple times. Keep an eye out for any leaks maybe that could happen. See if we see anything going on. I'm assuming that did something. I honestly do not know. That guy will go back into that empty slot there. All right, she's back in place. Put our trusty fuse puller back where it goes. If you didn't know, now you know. All right, I think at this point we're ready to get the intercooler back on. I'm gonna throw on the bracket that we took off here. Obviously, line up the holes. And that'll be that there, Johnny boy. All right, grab our intercooler, see how this thing's gonna fit. Shimmy it in place. Use a little bit of WD-40 just to get the hoses on there easier. Just a little bit on the inside. Use my finger, go around the rim. Make sure your hose clamps are in the right orientation. See if I can get this guy in place first on the turbo side. Oh, nice. Flips right on there. I thought we were gonna have some clearance issues here. Let's get this thing bolted down, get all of our hoses connected, and we'll be moving on. Intercooler slapped back on, everything aligned well. All bolts are tight, all couplers are tight. We are tight, I'm tight. We are ready to move on to the intake over here. Definitely don't want to start it with the mass sensor being unplugged. I'm just gonna throw in the intake with the mass sensor. I'll throw in the airbox and all that later. Just wanna make sure everything's gonna be in working order. My poor filter has been smashed in my airbox for a while. Locked and loaded. Ooh, I'm quite nervous. I'm just nervous there's gonna be leaks or something, but there's only one way to find out. And assuming we've done all the steps correctly and we did not forget anything, we should be good to go. All right, I'm gonna get out my little spill-proof funnel kit. That way when we top off the coolant, burp the system, I'm gonna have it chilling here. Watch for the bubbles and all that good stuff. I can link this down below. It's a pretty handy tool to have. Very convenient. All you really have to do is pick the cap that works for your radiator, expansion tank or whatever you got. And just lock in place. Just like so. Straight in there would be good. Straight in there. There we go. We get a little plunger, plug it off once we're done. All different applications, you have an adapter for every one. Of course, you got to use some of the super coolant from Subaru. Nothing but the best for this old girl. We're just going to get this reservoir topped off, make sure she doesn't run dry and suck any air. We definitely lost quite a bit when we took off one of the coolant lines on the turbo. So we'll just basically go on ahead and top her off. Let gravity work with you. All right, this is all or nothing right here. This is all or nothing. Let's go ahead and crank her over. Set the camera up right over here where the problem areas might be. We'll get some first-hand leakage if there is anything going on. All right, let's crank her over. Shoot, this is it. No turning back now. So that was my bad. I let this go dry. Let's not do that. Let's get this topped off and keep a better eye on it. I was more concerned about stuff leaking out the bottom of the car. So everything checks out. No new leakage there. Got her topped off. All right, let's crank her back over. Just letting her bubble out, get up the temperature. Everything seems to be holding so far. First heat cycle on the turbo. Quick check under here. No new drops. Just make sure she's not going to overheat on us. Yep, all right, let's kick on that heater. Everything flowing through. It's already getting warm, so I think we're doing all right. Sometimes these cars can be the worst to bleed out all the air out of the coolant system. So this is definitely the easiest method here. Just let the car do its thing. I'm gonna plug in my access port here. I'm gonna monitor the coolant temp there, making sure at around 205, thermostat will open up. Should go back down to 190 or so. The world's oldest access port right here. 142, okay. All right, at this point I kick the heater back off because clearly that's working very well, so. Well, we have great news. I mean, it's been about 10 minutes, still trying to get the car up to temperature as far as the thermostat opening up. But we have no smoke out of the tailpipe, just idling, so we are already better than when we started. So that's a good sign that the turbo did fix our smoke upon startup, upon idling. So probably like a 99% probability that it was the turbo causing the smoke. But there's always that 1%. 205. We should click on any time now. There we go. Right on time. Let's see if it starts to suck any down. Thermostat will open. There we go. Some bubbles going on. Still burping the system. Probably used about 3/4 of this gallon. 190. So we are functioning. We are circulating. Let's get some courtesy paper towels ready. Plug it up and I'm gonna pull it off. We'll lose a little bit. Just gonna put this right back into the gallon. Still fresh coolant. Okay, that concludes the burping of the system. All right, well, I think she deserves to come off these jack stands, and we'll be on our way to our first little test drive. She has landed. Well, we're on the road. First test drive. So far, so good. Headed to the gas station. I'm keeping an eye on those temps. And as far as the drivability, everything seems pretty smooth. He's dry. We have a problem, I think, because I'm like barely getting on it. And this car just wants to boost. Like, I over boosted like effortlessly. I was over boosting just like barely getting on it, like to 18, and I had to like let off because I can't monitor my air fuel ratio, and obviously my stage 2 tune is only good for about like 15 or so, 14 and a half. So I don't want to hurt the motor by staying in it. So I'm gonna do some research and figure out what's going on and take another look at the plumbing on the boost controller, but we'll figure it out. That's not good, bro. Look at that. My peak was 20 and I was like a quarter throttle. Something's not right. I better figure this out or I'm gonna have a blown motor. All right, so we're back at it. We're troubleshooting why my car is over boosting. So I'm thinking the wastegate spring on my new turbo is a little too stiff. This one opens up at around 7 PSI, and the testing that I've done on the other turbo, it opens up around 15 or so PSI. So the spring is a lot stiffer on the new one, obviously. I'm gonna swap my old wastegate onto the new turbo and see if everything's back to normal. So that's the latest and greatest. All right, I'm gonna get this new wastegate off of the turbo here. That way I can swap my old wastegate on and hopefully have all of our boosting issues resolved. So it's just two 12mm bolts holding on the bracket. Then you gotta pop off the little E-clip. Pop off this clip now. Hopefully I don't lose it. they are known to spring off and never be found again. If you're careful, you can get it right off. Nice little flapper there. I kind of already did some measuring, and it looks like everything's gonna bolt up nicely. Hi, bud. The extra boost is nice, but man, is it scary not being tuned for it. Yeah, there she is. Comes right off. All right, we got the crusty one off the old turbo. Let's go on ahead and swap it in. It's unfortunate that it's an ugly looking thing, but if it makes my car run better, I don't even care. Bolt her back and see what happens. This is the wastegate. It's got a little marking on there. I don't know if that's the part number or what. Reference that. And then this is the old one, of course. Kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna Google these and see what we get. All right, let's get these bolts in. Well, I guess we'll use the nice new ones. Thankfully, it's just an easy swap and everything lines up. You never know with aftermarket parts. Even aftermarket parts claiming to be OEM. So what I've read online is how to set your preload on these. You're gonna make sure your flap is all the way to one side here. Make sure that you can get your little eyelid in there. As soon as it can slide up and down easily, you wanna take it back off and rotate it 3 turns in. So 1, 2, 3. So that'll give it a little bit of preload. So you have to kind of push it to get on it. So that's what I've seen online. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And hopefully I have good results. Wish me luck. Don't forget your little clip, You gotta get your little clip on there. Consider me lucky. Everything's back and hooked up where it should be, hopefully. I'm gonna go on ahead and test her out. See if she got the boost, or too much boost, or not enough boost, or all the boost. We'll see. Back on the road, baby. Just all the good boost noises, all the good torque at low end. I'm really glad we got the overboosting issue figured out, because I was getting a little scary going like 20 PSI, barely getting into it. Like I said, it was the wastegate spring causing the issue. My stock wastegate spring is 7 PSI, and my new turbo is about 15 or so after testing. So the car is tuned for a stock wastegate spring, so that's why I was having so many issues with boost. Come on, dude, what are we doing? We're driving like geriatric patient over here. Come on, yeah, use your pedal. There we go. Anyways, I just wanted to give a proper outro. I've probably driven maybe 100 or so miles on the new turbo. Everything's looking good. We're still in one piece. Motor's still in one piece. I just wanted to share my first-hand experience doing the install and also installing the AVCS and the new turbo feed line. That was quite a nightmare, but like I said, I wanted to kind of be the guinea pig and let you guys know and kind of give you an idea of what it takes, what you're gonna have to go through in order to get those lines installed, what not to do, how to do, you know, like pretty much the ins and outs of it. Again, nothing was really broke. It's just kind of cool to have upgraded stuff, you know, like a car guy. I'll link everything used in the video down below, all the parts, all the tools. Hopefully the video will help you guys out if you're looking to tackle this job yourself. And again, it's just kind of like just a first-hand look at what goes into it. So it does feel good to have all the boost back. all the good noises. I just scared the shit out of that guy. I came up in his rearview mirror a little quicker than he probably anticipated. Alright guys, take it easy. We'll see you on the next one. I gotta get that AOS installed. That has to be the next video. That AOS is like the last lifeline to my car, so I'm gonna definitely get that installed soon. So look forward to that video. Until then, thanks for watching guys. Take it easy and we'll see you on the next one. Whoops, that was a cop. He got on the freeway. We're safe.